Welcome to the Pumpkinomicon Tales and Essays of the Uncanny. Is a severed head still alive for a few seconds? They say the guillotine was merciful, swift, clean, humane, if such a word can even be used beside the word execution. But the question has lingered for centuries, whispered between the pages of history and medicine. When the blade falls, is the head still alive? Just for a moment, just long enough to realize what's happened, to blink, to try to scream, to think. It sounds like horror fiction, doesn't it? Something you'd read in a dusty old book beside a candle guttering in the wind. But this question, macabre as it is, has been studied, documented, even witnessed, not by ghost hunters, but by physicians, revolutionaries, observers standing too close to the scaffold. In the late 18th century, during the height of the French Revolution, the guillotine claimed thousands of lives. Many who watched the beheadings began to report eerie things. Eyewitnesses claimed the heads didn't just fall. Some showed signs of movement, not just muscle spasms, but something that felt purposeful. A blink, a grimace. Eyes that seemed to look directly at the executioner. Was it a trick of the nerves? A final firing of a dying brain? Or something else? Medical professionals at the time were curious too, perhaps too curious. Dr. Bourrieu, in 1905, famously conducted an informal experiment on the severed head of convicted murderer Henri Languille. According to the doctor, Languille's eyelids and lips worked rhythmically for several seconds after decapitation. When the doctor called the man's name, the eyes reportedly opened and fixed on his face. A reaction, a connection, something aware. And then darkness. Now, science tells us that the brain can remain conscious for perhaps 4 to 15 seconds after decapitation. That's assuming oxygen is still circulating. That's assuming the trauma hasn't instantly shut everything down. But even 4 seconds is enough time to wonder, to regret, to panic, to say a prayer, to think, so, this is it. There's a deeper question hiding behind the science. What makes us alive? Is it the beat of our heart? The breath in our lungs? Or is it that spark behind the eyes? That flicker of awareness, however fleeting, that says, I am. Because if a head separated from the body can still be, even for a moment, what does that mean about the soul? Does it leave instantly like a bird startled into flight? Or does it linger, watching, listening, waiting? And if it does linger, does it mourn the body it left behind? Sometimes I wonder if this is why we instinctively fear decapitation more than other forms of death. There's something primal about the thought of being cut off from yourself, of still being you, if only for a second, just long enough to realize you're not whole anymore. That's a special kind of terror. And yet, there's also a kind of poetry to it, that even in death we try to hold on. that the mind doesn't give up easily, that it fights, thinks, feels, even with no body to anchor it. Of course, we may never really know. We can speculate, read old testimonies, study lab reports, but the truth, that belongs only to those who've crossed over. Still, next time you see a statue of a fallen soldier, a martyr, a figure of myth cradling their own head in their arms, maybe you'll remember this. The mind is stubborn. The soul is stranger than we think. And death is rarely as instant as we'd like to believe. This is Grandpa Stanley, and yours truly. Goodbye for now. And remember, your time is limited. Make it count. Make it meaningful. Thank you for stepping into the dark with us. There are stories the world forgets, but here they live on. Subscribe to Pumpkinomicon for more tales, essays, and real stories from the dark corners. Don't forget to check out our official website, Pumpkinomicon.com. There, you'll find our best-selling horror anthology comic book issued annually. This is Grandpa Stanley, your narrator and yours truly. Goodbye for now, and remember, your time is limited, so make it count and make it meaningful.